I saw a fighter. I saw a fighter. But I also saw for the first time that I was alone. But then the last 17 weeks of her life, she spent in surgical ICU. And a week after she passed, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was the first Black cheerleader in my high school, and I was the first Black female to graduate from the School of Industrial Engineering at West Virginia University. And I became the best female golfer in that league.
Wait, wow.
Somebody invested in me. The strongest characteristic you can have about yourself is belief.
All right, so let's just start at the beginning. Tell me who you were as a child, because I missed that part of this beautiful episode that is Faye Coleman. So tell me what you were as a child.
I was shy.
Really?
Very shy. And it's interesting because my daughter, who is slightly shy, but way further ahead than I was at her age, you know, and she always says, "Oh, Mom, you're so outgoing. You're so this, you're so that, you're so extroverted." And I said, that comes with time. But as a child, I was shy. I was an only child.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, and it was interesting because we grew up humble beginnings.
Where?
In the Hill District, Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And I'll bring me back to that a little later. But Brick City, as they would call it.
Oh, okay.
And it's interesting because it was the first, I guess I would say, projects built in the country. You know, President Roosevelt came to visit. His wife came to visit. It was like this whole big deal because of the housing situation that was in the Hill District. They had to build something up, so they built the projects.
Wow. And
at the time, you had to be gainfully employed to live in the projects.
Wow.
Right. Now that was back in the day. Right?
Wow. I was like, oh, okay.
You couldn't live in the project unless you had a job.
Wow.
And then when they started to evolve into something different and more a Section 8, my mother was like, well, it's time to go.
Okay.
But while I was there, you know, I loved people. I had great energy with folks, but I got picked on because my mother used to make all my clothes. And so I would be going to school looking like I walked out of the pages of Project Runway.
Oh, wow.
Girl, maxi coats.
Well, that explains a part of it. She's still looking that way, y'all.
Listen. And so I was like, I'm going to get teased. You know, I was like, this is not going to go well for me.
Okay.
I'm 6.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I've got like actual fur around my red outfits for the holiday season. It was a hot mess. And so I would get picked on.
Oh, wow.
So I would actually run in the house, and I can still remember to this day, I ran upstairs, and my mother was like, "What are you running for?" And I could hear somebody yelling, "You better come down here." And my mother's like, "Are they calling for you?"
Right.
I was like, "I don't know."
I just know I'm getting out there.
I just know I'm getting out of there.
Yeah.
She said, "You better go down there and face them. Or you face me."
Ooh.
So I said, "I guess I'm going back downstairs."
And
it was the first time that I really had to face a fear, you know, and it taught me, like, there's always a couple paths, a couple options you had. But if you just face it, you can get through it.
Wow, I agree.
Girl, now I had to put on my Vaseline, I had to pull my hair back and put my sneakers on.
She still got the apple for you.
I got, listen. I still had to come through and make it happen.
Yes.
And those girls never bothered me again.
I know that's right.
They jumped me, 2 of them.
Really?
Yes, they did. but it just taught me that lesson, and it carried with me throughout. I was the Girl Scout. I did all the things. I ran track for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
In a professional track club. I was the first Black cheerleader in my high school.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I was the first Black female to graduate from the School of Industrial Engineering at West Virginia University. And people always say, oh, that's so great that you're the first. And I said, but you know how hard it is to be the first.
Exactly.
And so I always say,
before you paving it,
if you have to pave the road,
it's
you ain't necessarily walking the road if you got to pave the road. But certainly it's always an honor. And, just recently I went back and I was honored through the National Society of Black Engineers because we chartered our chapter at our school.
Wow.
And so they asked me to come back and I said, I did? That's how old I am, right?
That's so true, though.
Are you sure I chartered it? I was like, are you positive?
It's true.
They said, well, here's a document. Here you are, vice president. I was like, okay,
I guess it's true.
I'll see you.
That's so true because I was going through Instagram the other day and it was wild because I saw something pop up from Rutgers, which is my alma mater, and it was saying a 35-year-old celebration was happening for this organization that I was a founder of. And I'm like, dang, it's been 35 years? 35 years?
Girl,
like 30 years since?
You looking good for anything to be 30 plus.
I was like,
20
wow. Shout out to Twese. The African organization at Rutgers, still doing big things. But yeah, and so I know what you mean, right? It's like there was no path at that point. So let's go back to your mom, though. Tell me a little bit. Was mom and dad in the house or just mom?
Just mom.
Okay.
Just mom.
And when you first, can you recall when you first saw impact at home, or it might have been not been seen as impact at that point, but she was doing something in the community or something that touched you in how she was moving that maybe stayed with you?
My mom was an educator.
Okay.
So she was educating in the public school systems, K through 12. And everyone loved her. They called her auntie before auntie was a thing. Right.
Wow.
Everybody called her auntie. And it was interesting because it was just her and I. That was my girl. Yep. She was my bestie.
Wow.
We were ride or die. I learned how to drive a Volkswagen at 12.
Oh, love it.
I did. Stick shift and all.
Stick
shift and all, girl. Yes, stick shift and all.
Yes.
And, folks will be like, well, why were you driving at 12? My mother had breast cancer when I was young.
Oh, wow.
And I saw her lose 70 pounds on a 5-foot frame. I saw her skin turn coal black. I saw her mental acuity greatly diminish. But I saw her strength. I saw her resolve. And it taught me a lesson right then, like, wow, that's my mother.
Wow.
And, fast forward, she made it through that. But then the last 17 weeks of her life, she spent in surgical ICU. And a week after she passed, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yeah, I was going to come to that. Wow.
And that's how I got interested in cannabis.
I know. We're coming to that. I'm glad you mentioned it because I do want to get to that.
Girl.
So let's first talk about now let's take a through line from when, you were at home and then you decided to go and do something absolutely unheard of at that time as a woman in college. What did that look like? What made you decide to go and do that?
To go to college?
Yeah. And do industrial engineering.
Okay. Well,
not just going to college.
Here's where programs matter.
Okay.
Right. And so here's the whole experience of life in education. When I was in high school, they had a regional engineering program. It was called PREP, Pittsburgh Regional Engineering Program.
Okay.
And so we met after school and we did all sorts of engineering projects for those who were excelling in math and science, right? You want to join, you could join. And so really that was like their first inspiration. You know, you do your little egg drop contest, all the things. I actually won. It was like, oh, could I be an engineer? I dropped an egg and it didn't break.
Wow.
It's like, pump your brakes, girl. But then we had some engineers come and visit. And they talked to us and they said what they did.
Wow.
And crystallized. And there were 9 people in that program. 6 of us were African-American girls.
Really?
And we all became engineers.
Wow.
Every single one of us.
Amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Amazing.
Isn't that crazy? And so my mother, and here's the odd part of the story. So when it was time to go to college, right? My mother filled out all my applications. She did every one of them. Okay. Wow. She's an educator. So she was like, are we going to get in school?
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
And so she filled them all out. And I had a full scholarship to Brown.
Wow.
To Carnegie Mellon, to Pitt. And I did have $0 for West Virginia.
Interesting.
And I ended up going to West Virginia. Why?
Yes.
Pitt was down the street from my high school. So I didn't want to go to Pitt, as was Carnegie Mellon. I could walk to Carnegie Mellon from my high school. So I was like, I would really like to have an experience of getting away.
Right.
And then there was Brown. And honestly, I was intimidated.
Wow. You were intimidated.
Remember, because I was still that young girl.
Yes.
Right? And I was like, I don't think I'll do well. I just don't think. And what happened was there was a man named Mr. Bellmere who came up, sat in my mother's living room and said, if you allow her to go to West Virginia, I promise to take care of her while she's there.
That matters.
And it mattered. And I went and I had an amazing experience. I pledged my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Shout out, ladies.
Omicron chapter, come through, sorors. Holler at your soror.
There you go. Shout out, ladies.
But it was an amazing experience. And I didn't even expect to pledge. My cousin was already there. She'd already pledged. And she said, when you get here,
you're pledging.
Get ready.
Oh, wow.
I was like, for what? I didn't even know what a sorority was. I learned fast.
I bet. and yeah, so let's go into that a little bit, right? So what for you was kind of the defining moment, or you said, wow, there's something extremely special about being a part of a sorority? Because I hadn't planned to go here, but I'm curious to know the answer.
There's nothing like true sisterhood.
I agree.
There's nothing like when you really know you have a ride or die.
Yes.
And when you have a whole group of women that are fundamentally part of an organization that is special, that is built on service. And when you have that type of fellowship, that love, there's nothing like it.
Wow.
And I'll say it is chapter to chapter.
Okay.
But as an organization as a whole, I would not give that experience for nothing. Of course, that's where Katherine Johnson went to school.
I know.
Can't be all bad.
No. No, because I know there's a lot of debate, right now about, sororities, fraternities, and there's all this chatter, right? But I do know quite a few AKAs who I love, Deltas as well, all the other sororities as well. So I'm not excluding. But no. I because I'm a sister type of person, right?
You're a girl's girl.
I'm a girl's girl.
You're a girl's girl.
Exactly.
And listen, I have some of my besties are Deltas, and I always say oop ski or ski oop, And so the Fellowship of the Divine Nine was never more called out than when Vice President Kamala Harris, my soror,
I know,
who was running for office, and you saw how everybody came together.
Yeah, it was great.
Right?
Beautiful.
For something that was amazing, is still amazing.
Absolutely.
And it just also showed the strength of sororities and fraternities.
No, I agree.
And so that experience really, it not only gave me the fellowship of the sisterhood, but also built my confidence.
Right. And especially as a, only child.
Yes.
Right. That kind of was a built-in sort of sisterhood that came.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, when I graduated, my last semester I had 18 credits. I had an internship, a work study, a teaching assistant. I was a resident assistant. I was a dean of pledges.
Ooh.
And I couldn't have been happier.
I love
Because I was graduating. And I was like, I'm getting out. The clock is running.
Wow.
And then by February, I had 3 jobs.
Yes.
3.
Get involved in college.
Get it, do your thing, because that network is critical.
So critical.
It's so critical. And so, and with my own kids, they've graduated. They're doing their own thing. I'm super proud of them. But I look at today in terms of college, and boy, I kind of vacillate a little bit.
Yes.
College is so expensive. It's out of control.
Right.
Education is so paramount. And I was at a conference, and there was an SVP of IBM. And she had said, she kind of shook me a little bit, because she said, IBM is now a skills-based organization.
Yeah. Girl, that's one of the things I'm getting into. I'm going to be asking the question, is education dead as we know it? Is education dead as we know it? Like, the relevance of what's happening in college to being employed is a real question we need to have.
It's a very real question. Yeah. And when she said that, it's skills-based, and she said, listen, you do not need a 4-year degree to work at IBM.
Right.
I had to sit up and pay attention. I was like, okay, what are we saying here?
Yeah.
What is this new math?
It's true.
And she said, the only thing you need to be proficient in and demonstrate is your ability to utilize AI. Get into it, you guys. If you haven't begun using AI, you better, because that's the entry point now to actually getting into some of these tech organizations.
Right.
Figure that out.
I know.
Pretty quickly.
That is my son is now graduating, and he's doing the interview process. And I'm glad he did his internship last summer in AI related digital marketing, because that's it.
See,
that's it.
That is it.
I don't know if he understood it then, but I think he's starting to understand it now, because the rent is starting to look like his come June of this year. Yeah,
exactly. And so even I've had to start to use, like with my entire team, we're now focused on using AI.
Right.
And I had to really push my team and myself.
Right.
In terms of, you really have to make this a part of the DNA of your business. And if you do not, you are being left behind by the minute.
Absolutely. So let's talk about you graduate, and I heard impact actually in how much stuff you were doing in college, right? You went from this somewhat shy person who walked in to essentially running a show by the time you were leaving, in every sense of the word, right?
You could say.
What did that transformation look like? Like, walk me through that a little bit.
Well, I think one thing I took seriously is that since college was on me, since I had decided not to go through the free education route, right? My mother was like, here's $20.
I believe that. I got $1,000.
Sweetie, she was like, Godspeed, this is your choice, your decision. And so I had to really reflect and make certain that, I'm here for a reason. And so I began to apply myself, but I also began to look at myself and say, okay, who are you? What type of individual do you want to be? Aside from an engineer, who are you as a woman?
Right.
And so, and I started to see those reflections as I saw my sorors around me. And I started to see how they were evolving, some of those who were older than I was.
Right.
And I said, wow, I've got some things to figure out.
I love
and that. So, I got involved in various aspects on campus to make certain I could invest in building that network.
Right.
And as I built that network, I then began to have more influence.
Right.
You begin to have more influence, you have more impact.
Right.
And so I always took influence pretty seriously. I would probably say that's one of my strengths today.
I would agree. There we go. Come on that. So you get through and you go to corporate. The Faye that was graduating, walking, to to her graduation ceremony or leaving, and now had these job offers, maybe had chosen one at that point. Like, what did she see herself as walking into a corporate environment at that point? Did you feel prepared? Did you feel like, okay, I've done all this stuff, and as a result, I know I can do a lot? Like, was there hesitation, tension? Because I'll tell you my story. I did not know I was going to be working at Accenture, Anderson Consulting. Many people had come to Rutgers with the intention of working there from when they got to Rutgers. I was not one of those people. I kind of did my stuff, and we had this telephone. I'm dating myself. We had this telephone system that you applied through, which was cutting edge for the time at Rutgers. And so I just applied to a bunch of places, and I got called in by Anderson Consulting. And when my friends found out, they were like, "You got called in by Anderson Consulting?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know why, but I did." So I went in, and it was a 5-day process, back to back on campus. And at the end of the 5 days, you found out if you got a job or not. So on the 5th day, they invited us to this dinner at Old Man Rafferty's, which is still there. And we found out essentially we were coming into the office where they would make you a formal offer. I go into the office. I will never forget this story. I go into the office, and the guy who was supposed to give me the offer, it's a consultancy, right? So if the client calls, you got to go.
Right.
So another partner who happened to be in the office that day was given the task of, okay, meet with this little girl, give her the offer. We're good with her to bring her in. I go into the office. It's a guy from Texas, big cowboy hat, cowboy boots. I walk in. I'm intimidated when I see him. Real talk. I have my hair I've grown out all through college, not pressed, but pressed all the way down to the back. I got the whole look, right? The suit, everything. And he offers me chocolate, and I don't like chocolate. So I say, "Oh, thank you, but I don't like chocolate." And he did not give me the offer because of that. I came to find. So I leave, and we talk for a little bit, and I leave, and I call my mentor, and I'm like, "I thought you said this is what was going to happen." And he was like, "It didn't happen?" I was like, "No." He was like, and he said, "Walk me through the conversation." And when I walked him through the conversation and mentioned that, he said to me, "Oh, that's why we're going to have a talk with him." And so at that moment, I already knew. I ended up getting the offer, but I knew at that moment going in that there were all these things that I thought I knew that I didn't know, and that what I thought was okay, he perceived as, well, she's not going to be able to sit with clients because she doesn't know to take stuff, even though she doesn't like it. That's something that can be easily taught. Right. I was just being honest in the moment,
right?
Feeling comfortable to some degree. I asked that question, by the way, when I went back. I had shaved every last piece of hair off. I was damn near bald. And I loved it, right? I was like in my don't play with me era, right? Short hair, the whole 9, loved it. But the question, tell that story to find out from your perspective when you're now walking into a corporate. What did that feel like? Did you feel like you were more ready maybe than I was? How did you feel?
Oh, that first job as an engineer, I think I was so naive. Uh-huh. I didn't know what to feel. You know what I mean? I just was I think I was more doe-eyed.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, I got a job. Like, let's go. It's time to go to work. We'll figure it out."
Okay.
I'm a solutions oriented by nature. Yeah. So I always feel like I can figure it out.
Okay.
But never understanding at that time the office politics, the corporate dynamics that are in play, right? That went over my head for quite some time. And then when I began to assess, I see now what this is and what it's not.
Right.
So for instance, I had done an amazing job with something, and I got this very mediocre review. And a mediocre review came with a mediocre salary bump, right? And so I went and I asked my boss about it. I asked him about it. And he goes, "Well, you were not given as much as your peer because he's married and has a family."
Oh, I've heard that before.
And so that was the first time that in my mind, I said, "Oh, you got to wise up."
Wow.
The game is on.
Yes.
And I said, and you're being played.
Yes.
And that's now me maturing, right?
Right.
So now I'm starting to see and I'm starting to look. And so I left there and I went to Kraft General Foods as an engineer.
Uh-huh.
And it's interesting because you go there and I'm there as an engineer. I'm in the second largest manufacturing facility. And the dynamics, of politics are playing out. Folks are coming from corporate, da-da-da-da. And as we were there, this is when you used to have real great employee benefits as a manager. Okay. We would have 4-day retreats. We go away every year.
Wow.
Like nobody's doing that today.
No.
Nobody's doing that today. But one thing we did, we had to play golf. So I was told one day, they were like, hey, we have to go golfing. And we're going to go every week during the spring and summer, every Wednesday at 3. I said, oh, well, I won't be able to go because I don't play golf.
Right.
They were like, oh, that we're not asking. We'll see you on the back 9.
Ooh.
So
Wow.
I'd never touched a golf club, never been on the golf course, nothing about golf. So I show up, cart, clubs, rent it, right?
Yeah.
I get on the course. Of course, I'm terrible, right? I can barely hit the ball. I don't know what I'm doing. The groundskeeper is behind me, ushering me along, right?
Wow.
Extremely embarrassed. And there was this employee. Now, I'm one of the managers. He's an employee. He was part of the league as well. He said, sis, I'll see you on Tuesdays and Thursdays after work, and I'm going to teach you how to play.
Wow.
And I became the best female golfer in that league.
Well, wow. Yes.
Yes. And so, again, here I am. Here's my mental growth, right? Here's that growth. And I'm really starting to develop my sense of understanding who I am, my value, and what belonging looks like. And so I took that lesson to heart and I said, wow, somebody invested in me. And you didn't take advantage of that. You made certain you ascended because of it.
Wow.
That you were successful because of it. And it allowed me to understand too how important it was for me to give back.
Right.
So I really became a mentor of folks. And I always started to look out for everyone, especially those who look like me.
Yeah.
And I think that was a part of the trajectory of my growth as I went through corporate America from, of course, Kraft General Foods. And then I went to Campbell Soup, which brought me to New Jersey as an engineer. And it was interesting. I was there. There was another woman named Faye Coleman there. Really? Who was the exec assistant of the CEO.
Oh, I'm sure there's stories for that.
Oh, baby. I was like, wow. I'm not that Faye Coleman. I think you want to send this to someone else because I shouldn't be reading this. So they tried to figure that out real quick. Like, oh, we got 2 Faye Colemans here. But, and coming into, Campbell's, and then as I go from Campbell's to Hatfield, and I redesign their manufacturing facility, and I go from there.
All right. You run in. So slow down. Redesign their manufacturing. Like, give me a little bit more. I need a little bit more on that.
When you're an engineer, you can wear a lot of hats.
Right.
And so when I first, making a step back after Kraft, I actually went to Amherst, New York, where I worked for Sorrento Cheese as an engineer. Okay. I forgot. I lived there for 4 years.
Wow.
Wow. And I think I wanted to forget that I was in Buffalo for 4 years because I was there for the blizzard of 96.
Wow.
It was not pretty.
I remember that.
I do too. And I still, to this day, I think that's why it's kind of like blocked in my mind. It's like, yeah, you spent 4 years there, girl.
Wow.
Get into it. But yeah, I was there, and then we were gone. Then we were at Campbell's, and
Are you a mom at this point? Yeah.
I got pregnant when I got the job at Campbell's. So I had
Did they know?
I had No, because I got the job first.
Right. And then
I found out I was pregnant. And I was like,
ooh,
uh-oh.
right.
So they put me in a manufacturing facility down near Ocean City, Maryland.
Okay.
I was in Millsboro, Delaware working. And so, of course, they started recognizing like, oh, hey, did you check out Faye's new look? You know,
just a little
you check out Faye's new look. And they were like, we're going to bring you to corporate.
Right.
And get you out of this manufacturing facility.
Yes.
So they bring me to corporate. Of course, that's Camden, New Jersey. And we moved to Cherry Hill. And I had to pry my husband's hands off of Ocean City, Maryland at the time because we lived on the bay.
Wow.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
He was like, we're going where?
Camden.
I said, we're going to Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You're going to Cherry Hill, New Jersey. We're Canada. He's like, what? And so we went. I said, this is where we're going. So we went, and it was a good experience. Campbell's was a great company, good company to work for. And then I went off to Hatfield, did some facility redesign, and that was because I had a great relationship with the folks at Campbell's. It's interesting because while I was at Campbell's split off from Velasic Foods. Okay. So Velasic Foods and Campbell's became two different companies. Okay. So we went with Velasic. And so we were assured, we had all these assurances. Come to find out, that ended badly. They filed Chapter 11. Oh, wow. They ended up being acquired. And we all got laid off. Wow. And so I was so excited to be laid off because it came with such a big paycheck. Okay. You know, because we had it in our contract. Right. So everybody was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I was like, oh, this is so good. And I had already had my job with Hatfield. So I was going to Hatfield next. Okay. So I was like, oh, this is good. I got my job and I'm going to get this check. And so everybody was being called but me. Like all day long, folks were like coming in, you know, getting their papers and out. I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, they're going to keep me. I'm not going to get my paycheck. Oh. I'm going to actually have to stay. And I'm going to have to do the work of like 10 people because they've gotten rid of everybody. Right. And the last person I was called. Oh, wow. And I just was like, oh thank gosh, thank gosh. I walked into my boss's. I said, why'd you wait? Leave me to the last. He said, because I knew you were like the one most excited to go. He said, I knew you were not going to be a problem. Some other folks were like, you know, tearing up. You're like, hey, I got another job. Right. I gotta get to work. Let's go. And so, you know, I left on good terms. I think it's important to do that. And, you know, Hatfield was great, you know, was being able to, I went there for like mainly to do a project and then move on. Right. So that's what I did. And then
let's double click on what made you take the perspective, because there are a lot of people, particularly a lot of young women, who would not have that perspective of, listen, when it's done, it's done. It's time to move on. Let's double click on that and tell me a little bit more about that from your perspective.
I think I learned from my mom that nothing is permanent. And you have to really look forward in terms of what's next. And really, as you have any type of experience, it should be one where you're adding value. It should be one where you're developing. And it should be one, well, certainly there's either mentorship or some service component to it. And if not, you're in the wrong position. And when that runs its course, you're in the wrong position. And so I knew then it was like, okay, I'm in that, you know, in that box. It's time to move. And then this came about. So I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. Let's go. Let's go. You know, let's go. But you're right, because there were, it's particularly other women. There were a few women, they didn't want to be laid off. And I think it's the stigma, right, of being associated. Oh, you were actually laid off? You know, and I think folks like that's a bad word, to be laid off. And some folks, they didn't want it. They were like, I will just quit before I'm laid off. I said, you would quit and not take that payout. Right. Because you don't want to be associated with being laid off. That's how important it was to some people. Right. And I said, but you got to be smart.
You do. And there's a degree of emotional maturity that comes with that, right? But also not overly attaching yourself, as you said, to anything for that matter, yes. Right? Career-wise, I mean, because things are fluid, and they kind of should be.
They should
to grow.
I always say there's 3 types of mindsets, right? I say there is a surviving mindset, there is a thriving mindset, and there's a building and winning mindset. And I said, you better associate yourself with the builders and the winners.
Yes.
If you're climbing, that's who you need to connect yourself with. Other than that, you're not going to move.
No.
You're not going to move. You're going to be partying with the thrivers, or you're going to be somewhere that you don't want to be with the survivors.
Right. Ooh.
Trying to figure out how to get out of the situation. And so I said, find the builders and winners.
I love that.
They're there.
I love that. Love that. Okay, so let's fast forward. I love that. That was amazing. Let's fast forward to, okay, so you go to Hatfield, you do your thing there. Do you stay longer? Do you leave?
No, I left.
On to the next conquering.
On to the next conquering.
What I'm hearing is a conqueror, right? Like you're conquering territory all over the place. So, and we're going to get to the conquering for real soon and what all this was kind of building up to. But yeah, so you leave Hatfield. What happens next?
I leave Hatfield. And so I said, well, what do I really want to do next? I said, I think I'd had enough of engineering. I was like, I've been there, done it. Not long for anything too long.
Right.
So I said, there was this program that came up with the Home Depot. And I said, I think I'd like to be a part of that. So I applied, got the job, and started.
I love it.
I started, and they had this mentoring leadership program. And they want you to come in, run a store, and then they would give you some director level position, right? Okay. So I said, okay, I can do that. Yeah. So I go in and to manage the store and find out, the culture was not as I would have expected it to be. Okay. And I loved Home Depot as a company and what it stood for. But it still comes down to the people in the box.
Excellent. True.
Comes down to the people in the box. True. And I ran into some amazing people, but I also ran into some folks that I said, here we go.
Yeah.
And so you'll find that now I'm several companies in. So now I'm starting to align with and really understand people and understand culture and how important it is to you and to your team to set up an organization. The strength of it rides on the culture of it.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I began to develop what I thought a great culture should look like. And kind of assess that out and tease that out as I went into various environments as time went on, various organizations as time went on. And so, while I had a good experience, not a great experience, but a good experience at the Home Depot. It taught me a lot just in terms of big box organization, retail, what that really looks like. And I spent a year when my children were very young. I traveled to the home office in Atlanta every week.
Wow. I know, girl.
So that was a real treat. And so... I always had asked myself, should I have done that? Was it worth it? Was the exposure worth it? And, at the time I was married, my husband was like, go do it. And we made it work.
Right.
But even during that time, I went back to get my master's. So now I'm at St. Joe's. I'm doing a master's program. I'm traveling back and forth to Atlanta. Got 2 kids.
I get it.
And, I'm like, really, my hair's on fire, but nobody's told me, So I'm running around like, so like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
But I knew everything would end. I knew that having to be resident in Atlanta would end. I knew I would graduate. That would end. And I said, it's all purposeful.
Okay.
And it's all to a means to move myself forward, because then I moved on to Target.
Okay.
And when I moved to Target, that was probably the hardest part
What was hard about it?
of my journey. That's when my mother got ill.
Wow, because I was just going to ask you if she was still around and what she was thinking at this point.
She was still around. And
Would she ever say to you, girl, you need to sit down a little bit?
No, my mother was always a champion. She was always like, go girl, go, like that go girl, do your thing, do your thing. And she made it easy. She took care of my kids when I was out, you know what I mean? So she really fostered that, takes a village,
right?
Mom,
right.
Grandmom's here, or Mima as they called her.
Yeah.
And so she was always there to support. And so, as I moved on to Target, I started to understand and level up in terms of business and success and da-da-da-da. But the hardest year was 2009. I never forget it. My mother got gravely ill, and those last 17 weeks of her life, she spent in surgical ICU. She never spoke again. And then she passed away. And then a week later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it was tough because that was also the year my husband lost his business.
Wow.
And then I was promoted to a job that everybody thought I would fail at.
Ooh.
And so I said, okay.
All right, Lord.
This is what real life looks like.
Yes.
Up close. And I had to really take a hard look at myself.
What about yourself did you see when you looked?
I saw a fighter. I saw a fighter. But I also saw for the first time that I was alone. My mother passed away. That was my bestie gone.
Right.
And it was a gut punch. And at her funeral, I even felt more alone. Only from the standpoint, it was not on purpose, but all my cousins were there. Everybody came. It was, well attended.
Right.
And I wanted everyone to stand up and say something about my mom. And they were all too emotional to speak.
Wow.
So I spoke.
You did?
I did. I spoke at my mother's funeral.
Wow.
I sure did.
I spoke at Dom's funeral.
It was important. And I didn't know if I could do it, but I could hear my mother saying, do whatever you want to do, girl. Go up there and say a couple things. So what did I do? I got up and I read a letter that it was a love letter. And it was a love letter from August Wilson.
Oh, wow.
I read it because I really wanted people to understand how much she impacted so many. You talk about impact. Who can say they had an impact on August Wilson's life?
Wow.
That was my mother.
That's phenomenal. Wow.
So, yeah. And so that 09 was a critical year. And so, of course, I had Harvard and Yale and everybody reaching out. They wanted to see the letters and all the things. I was mourning my mother, so I said no to everybody.
Right.
But I knew I would be okay.
Yeah.
And I knew I would be okay, one, because my mother left me in great shape mentally as her child. And I knew I'd be okay because my foundation is my faith.
I know. Won't he do it?
Girl.
Wow.
Girl. All things.
Yeah. All things.
All things.
Things.
All things. Not some things. Not the good things. All things. And so I clung so hard to that. I didn't even tell my children I had cancer for a year.
What?
Yeah.
Now, why? Is it because you just thought it was too much for them?
I thought it was too much.
Yeah.
They just lost their grandmother.
Yeah.
Oh,
that would be.
My husband at the time, he was spinning because he lost his business. And here I am learning a new job. having to entertain leaving my new position.
Right.
Because I've got cancer and I've got to deal with that.
You're there holding it together for everybody as
Holding
you're
together.
grieving and scared.
And trying to heal
Yeah.
from 3 surgeries.
Wow.
And so it taught me what resolve and being resolute means, and understanding really how centered you have to be in your faith, and how critical it is to have people in your life that add peace and purpose and will help you move forward.
Yes.
And you will find out who they are.
You sure will. Everything else must go.
You will find out who they are.
Yes.
And I found out. I'm still finding out.
Yes. It's a continuous process of pruning. Yes, it is.
It's something to come back to every year.
Yes.
It's like, and I tell people all the time, listen, I said, I have a wait list for friends.
Yeah.
That's not the question. The question is, I need to make certain I've got good friends that where they hold me down and they help contribute to me maintaining being centered.
Exactly.
And so that celebrate me as I celebrate them.
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now let's connect this to Pure Genesis, right?
Okay.
Because I know that, and I had read in my research that there was a connection between you getting cancer and eventually getting to Pure Genesis. So walk me through what happened in between. You did the surgeries, what happened, and how did we get to that point?
It's interesting because during that time, when I was diagnosed, the first thing I thought about was cannabis. Because for a moment, somebody had mentioned when I was a child, my mother was experiencing breast cancer. They said, oh, if she could actually consume cannabis, she would maintain her appetite and have a healthy recovery with her chemo radiation because she lost all the weight.
Right.
So it kind of went in and went out. But then as soon as I was diagnosed, it popped right in my head.
Wow.
And I was like, I may need to have some alternative medicine.
Yeah.
And I was still afraid to
sure.
try it. I was still afraid.
Because there was such a stigma there.
Such a stigma.
I mean, to some degree, it's finally, but there's still...
It's still a stigma.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I don't know. I think still too much. I can't do it.
Right.
So I let time go by. And then I started to write a book on August Wilson, my mom.
Wow.
And the love letters.
You're right.
And we had actually talked to Lonnie Bunch at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. He was like, listen, we can get them to the Smithsonian, but you got to be ready to let those letters go. He's like, you better figure out what you want to do with those letters first.
Wow.
So I had also, I was at a gala. And
we love galas.
We love
if
galas.
You know.
We love a good gala.
Yes.
And this was a gala. I thought I looked really nice. I had this white gown on, right? Okay. I thought I was stunting. I was doing all the things, right? And I get back to the table and everybody at the table is looking at me. So you know how you try to do a peripheral look like, like what's on my gown?
Right.
This is what happens when you got too much ego. You know, God gives it back to you. You're a hot mess. Like, what happened? So I'm like, I'm waiting for somebody to say, girl, go in the bathroom and fix yourself. So I'm sitting next to Serena Williams' PR team.
Oh.
And she looks up at me and she goes, so tell us about August Wilson.
Oh.
So there was 1 out of 10 of us at that table that knew nobody else but one. And she looks up at me, she goes, they made me tell. So she said, sit down right here. We all want to hear the story. Oh, wow. So here I am at a gala of 600, music playing. Right. And I got the whole table. Everybody's leaned in, like, listening.
Telling the story.
Telling the story how this happened. And so I tell the story and she goes, so where are the letters? I said, well, they're on my nightstand.
Right.
She said, well, wait a minute. At the time, it was 2018. She said, wait a minute. You had that conversation with your mother about the letters in 2007. And it's 2018.
Mm.
And those letters are sitting on your nightstand. She said, where were they before that? I said, they've always been on the nightstand. She said, I'm sorry. You have letters from August Wilson and they're still just sitting on your nightstand. She said, okay, you do realize that this is history. You do realize you can't hide this. You do realize.
I know.
She's like,
they're right.
This is we're still at the gala. She's like, she's looking at me like,
yeah.
I don't even know what to say. Like, I think she wanted to probably just like, I can't.
What are we going to do?
So she said, would you allow me to take you to the African American Museum in Philadelphia? I want you to talk to the exec director.
Right.
So I said, sure. So we went in, and the exec director, she was just a blessing. She brought her whole team in. They all sat around. And I said, is everybody here for me? She said, yes, we want to hear the letters.
Right.
So I get the letters out. So I pull out my envelope.
Wow.
And they were like, wait, well, where's I said, they're in the envelope. She said, the letters are in the envelope.
You don't even have it in some lock and key situation, safe deposit box, nothing. They on the nightstand, y'all. Thank God there was no fire.
Thank God. Thank God. She goes, I said, would you like to reach it? They were like, no. We don't want to touch them.
Mm-hmm.
So I break them out. And so I read them start to finish. There were 6 because my mother threw away dozens of them because he used to write them like every other day. So she was like, I said, Mom, why'd you throw away all the letters?
Yeah.
She said, you lucky I kept any. She said at the time, before August Wilson was August Wilson was broke. He'd come into the restaurant, couldn't even afford breakfast, and I would feed him for free. You can talk about keeping letters or keeping letters. She was like, So she said, but I did happen to have some because they were written so well. That's why I kept them.
Oh, wow.
And to this day, the letters are so, when you read them, they're so hard to understand what they mean. I had to give them each a title.
Okay.
So I could reflect on what I thought the letters meant. Mm-hmm. But, that whole premise of sitting down in front of that team, they said, listen, she said, I could definitely use these letters, put on an amazing show. She said, but I'm going to be a mentor.
Wow.
She said, you need to take these letters back. And she said, you need to write a book.
Wow.
And that's when I said, oh, well, now you just got crazy. I said, I became an engineer, so I didn't have to read. I said, facts, okay? I was good at math and science. Right. I was not good at reading. And I was like, I don't need to do anything that's going to involve too much reading. I need some numbers and some problems, and I can figure it out.
Right.
She goes, if you don't write something, somebody else will, and that will become the story.
Wow.
She said, do you want somebody else to tell your story? So I go back and right now still, because something interrupted my writing the book called The Cannabis Business.
Exactly. Which I want to get deep into. Why? Like, how did you even make the transition? Because I know now some of the backstory, right? And we've had some conversations.
Yes, we have.
About the immense challenges, right? But why? Now I know how much of a conqueror you are. I'm going to just have to say that. And we're going to come back to the 138 because we need to figure that out. But pin that, y'all. But why? You now, I guess, this is new territory, but it's connected to something very emotionally deep for you.
Yes, it was, because it came back to cannabis and how medicinal it is.
Educate people.
I think a lot of folks, and it's interesting, quite a few people are like, why are you getting involved in cannabis? Yeah. Like, what is that all about? And I said, well, cannabis is medicine. People don't really understand that in the late 1800s, 50% of all prescriptions used to be cannabis.
I didn't know that.
People don't realize that, as you talk about cannabis and hemp, people are like, is that two different? No, it's all cannabis. Mm-hmm. Hemp used to be $1 billion crop during the American Revolutionary War. People don't realize that every home had to grow 100 hemp plants and send them back to England before the war. So we were already growing cannabis.
Right.
And sitting in the back for the purposes of industrial use to make sails and ropes and all those things for war. $1 billion crop back then.
Wow.
Cannabis is medicine back then. Significant. It wasn't until we got into the 30s where capitalism reared its head in the worst way, and they demonized cannabis by making it seem as though Black folks were at the source of all things wrong with cannabis. But really, it was about DuPont and Mellon and the trickery of wanting to get rid of hemp and start to use the forest in the national forestry to actually make paper products. So they found a way to make paper cheaper. And so they went into demonizing an industry so they can get rid of it.
Oh, wow.
And they put us at the center of it.
Wow.
And so it's interesting because if you go back to the 30s and you look at the $10 bill, it has a hemp farm on it and Andrew Mellon's signature.
We're going to put that on this episode. Find it, please.
You know, and it's interesting because industrial hemp was hard to harvest. It was hard to harvest. So much so they used to call it the nigger crop.
Really? Because you needed the strong people to do that.
Yep. And so white folks wouldn't touch it.
Wow.
So when folks thought we were just growing and picking cotton, which was hard in and of itself.
Right.
Oh, we're doing hemp too. So, boy, that's a strong group of people.
Yes.
But that's real history. When folks are talking about what's going on with the plant, that's the history that we are faced with. And so as you move forward to the 70s, you know, you hear something now about the president talking about descheduling, rescheduling cannabis and all those things to make it a Schedule III drug versus, you know, the Schedule I that it is today. And so, which is tantamount to a drug that could kill you. Like, let's name one, fentanyl, you know, all the fun things. And so now that we're looking to deschedule it, how we want to say it, that would be tantamount to like a Tylenol coating. But the only reason that is really focused on the rescheduling is because the focus is on now being able to bring the banking industry in.
Yeah, so if you kind of minimize its potency, then you can allow all these folks to come in and monetize it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, you know, the curtains being pulled back, right? Everybody can see exactly what this is.
Right.
And so that's being...
You kind of standardize.
Yes, it's moving. It's moving. And so for me, though, when I was writing the book, I started writing that book in 2018. I looked up, I was at home, and I saw TMZ. I never watched TMZ, but that time it was on.
Right.
And there was a Black woman on. And she was talking about how she was about to open up a cannabis dispensary. And she was headed to a conference in Denver, Colorado on cannabis. I was like, what? It was like the oddest thing.
Wow.
TMZ had never talked about cannabis.
No.
Like, I said, this is kind of crazy. And then the more I looked, I said, My kids were about to go into, they were coming out of college. And I said, maybe this is my time. I booked a flight, went to the conference.
I knew you was going to say that.
I said, either I was going to see a bunch of folks getting high and I needed to get my butt back to New Jersey and forget I ever thought about this, or I was going to find an opportunity for something that I could thrive in. I got there. I met some great people. I even saw some folks from Target.
Wow.
And I came back. I was super excited, grabbed my dearest friend, and we got started.
Yeah. And it's been a journey.
And it's been a journey. I mean, the road has been all the things. It has been windy. It has been straight. It has been downhill. It's been uphill. It has been purposeful and amazing. and challenging, educational at every turn. And I met some of the best people in the industry. But what I found is my kids have just the absolute utter belief in me.
Oh.
And just to see through their eyes how they see me is everything.
Wow.
You know, I've got a team that trusts me. That is everything. We raised a couple $1 million. We still have several $1 million to go. But those investors, I don't take for granted.
Right.
And of course, my faith sustains me.
Yeah.
So it's been an awesome ride. I mean, we have 5 business entities now.
Tell us about it.
Ooh.
Plug this is it right here. Plug it, girl. We got some stuff we gonna show y'all. Yes.
So when we started, our mission is education, access, and advocacy. And we started with education because we knew that is what our people are suffering most from. Is lack of education in this industry. So we started there. And so we have a business and consulting and education arm called PG Partners, where mainly, though, we educate at-risk youth, ages 13 to 22. We educate them on the plant, on the history, on the medicinal aspects, and on the business. So when they are, I say, listen, so stop thinking about getting high behind the bleachers,
right?
If that's still a thing. And start thinking about cannabis as a business.
Yeah, girl, I did that. I did at-risk youth at Rutgers in horticulture. This is
yes.
It's on another episode that we recorded here.
Listen, and it just shows how important it is. And so we started out with education, and we do some consulting because, of course, I've got a whole team of C-suite leaders that just have so much skills, experience, and leadership. Of course, we want to make certain that fans out. We created PG Insights, which is for AI app that we're looking to develop to optimize customer engagement and inventory management within retail dispensaries. We have PG Hemp, where we have grown hemp now in 3 states, that being New Jersey, Pennsylvania, South Carolina. We have a small farm in Senegal. And we are now just starting to work on a project with industrial hemp in South Africa. And that's working with the state. And then we've got PG, which is just basically our Genesis dispensary operations, where we have licenses now in 3 states, that being New Jersey, New York, for a registered organization, which is a full vertical, which means we have a license to cultivate, process, and sell cannabis. And then another in Florida that we're also part of a joint venture.
Y'all, that's not easy to do.
It takes a little bit of work.
Just a little?
Takes
a lot.
Takes a teens here and there to make it happen.
Yeah.
But again, takes a great team, takes a great network.
Yeah.
And then we have PG Fire, which is our food and beverage arm that has our beverage Genesis that we launched last year in partnership with Whoopi Goldberg.
Right.
We call it the future of happy hour.
I love it.
And we have 2 SKUs right now. One is called Whoop Tea, which is an Arnold Palmer.
I love Arnold Palmer. I haven't tried it, but
listen.
First time for everything.
Yes, it's a first time for everything. And we always say, people say, well, what's the experience like? And I always tell people, if you're in the space, make sure you can align it to something that's not in the space.
Right.
So we say, if you drink 1 can, it is tantamount to having 1 margarita.
Okay. Oh, okay. I do margaritas.
And most do.
I do margaritas.
But it may be, you might say, well, 1 12-ounce can, Faye, is 1 margarita. A good experience for me may be 2 margaritas. For me, it may be 1.
Okay.
For someone else, it might be 3.
Right.
But then you get an idea in your mind, well, what's the experience going to be like? But the great thing that we have in terms of our beverage, what makes us so unique, is that our product tastes really good. A lot of products are put on the market for the experience only. So they taste not the best.
Right.
We wanted to come on the market and said we can have something that tastes great. You have a great experience. And also not just a great experience, but it is working on your body in the background. So it is working. It's reducing inflammation. It's reducing anxiety. It's taking pain out your body. It's doing all these things. CBD actually counters the effects of liver damage. You have all sorts of things that are going on medicinally because everybody has an endocannabinoid system.
Girl, she's gonna have a podcast here. Just saying. I'm just saying right now because there's so much to learn.
Well, everybody has an endocannabinoid system, and cannabinoids get released in your body every time you have pain. So people are like, "What's this cannabis?" I don't.
Right.
You have
really.
You have cannabinoids in your body. So let's say I hit your knee, and you're like, "Ow, it hurts." Cannabinoids get released
naturally
to attack the pain. What happens is you don't have enough of those cannabinoids to attack the pain immediately and dissipate that pain.
Right.
So the cannabis, that CBD you take in,
right,
it will attack that pain. So think supplement, right?
Right.
So that takes that pain.
Wow.
So when they say, oh, well, it's just recreational, it's not. It is recreational. It is medicinal.
Right.
It is a plant that is still uncharted.
Yes.
Because there's so much research that can be done and so many things are coming just in terms of how the plant is being used and what it can be used for in the medical field.
Wow.
If you don't believe that the pharma community
they know,
is going full throttle on this plant,
they know.
I am certain that once it becomes federally legal,
right, it'll
be like popcorn. You'll start to see so many things pop up in terms of how you can utilize the plant.
Yeah, I'm going to task myself with doing better research coming out of this conversation. And we got to figure out how to connect on that. So how many Black women have you run into in this space? Or the deeper question is, how challenging has it been for you as a woman of color making inroads in this space?
I'll answer both of those questions. I think let me say, we have a good network.
Awesome.
We all support each other, which has been great. But we're a small nucleus, right? We're getting 2% of the capital, right?
Oh my gosh, this 2% got to go.
We're part of the 2% club.
This 2% got to go.
Right? People are like, I'm part of the 1%ers. We're part of the 2%ers.
Yeah, it's got to
But it's not in a good way, right? It's not in a good way. So being part of that 2% club, has really been interesting. It has been the biggest barrier to progress with Black women in this industry. And so we've had to grassroots, bootstrap, do all the things that we can to make it happen, as best we can on our own, and seeing how we can help each other. And that's also just given us a window into the how, it's almost like, when we were told DEI was dead. That's probably the best thing that happened.
Yeah.
Because then we absolutely understood it's on us.
Yeah.
So, that is the focus right now, just in terms of how we can help each other move forward in this environment. It has been incredibly hard. I've had people tell me and tell my team, you add no value. You have no value. Wow. I've had people say, we're going to just wait until you run out of money and then we're going to buy your property at 10 cents on the dollar.
Wow. I believe it.
Yes. Yeah. I've had all sorts of things. We have people that try to take our company away from us. We've had to return a $10 million check because someone was trying to be a bad actor and take our company. We've had a bank that actually slid in at the last second that they wanted $750,000 additional dollars as cash collateral before we could actually close. We've had folks do some pretty predatory things. And, by the grace of God, we're still here. We're still moving forward. And, it was a godsend when we launched our beverage last year because we threw 2 SKUs out. Whoopi was absolutely, a fan of our business and so supportive. And, that beverage is just doing absolutely amazing. We have another one called Euphoria, which is like a pina colada with a champagne overlay, lightly carbonated. And they both taste super great. And actually, we were in the middle of relaunching, but Very excited. The good news is that, a number of folks have taken interest. But as we look at the business, we're trying to figure out how best to grow.
Yeah.
And so it's just been a great experience. But follow us on Genesis Infused.
Yes.
On Instagram.
Yes, we're going to have all that in here, right in this clip. When you hit those moments where you're like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this, or just I need to be inspired, what song do you listen to?
The Journey by Her. It was part of the movie The 6888. And that is such an inspiring song. Such an inspiring song. And if not that, I always just go back to my gospel.
Girl,
I love some good gospel music, yes. Right? And I just love some good jazz. I'm still a jazz enthusiast. But yeah, The Journey is a great song.
I gotta listen to it now.
Unless you wanted me to put on some Prince.
Girl, we can go Prince.
And let's get into it. Let's get into it. Come on, some Prince all day.
I saw Prince in concert. One, I might have been one of the last times he was in Jersey. He and Sade.
Oh.
When Sade? I tell you that was, yes. And then Dom and I ended up going out in the city after, and the club we went to, Prince came to. I was like, okay, am I still on earth?
That's amazing.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah. I saw Prince in Atlanta. He brought the time with him.
Wow.
That concert started at 7.
Yeah.
At 12:30, he was still singing.
Yeah, he's a great performer.
And I'm in Atlanta now. Remember, this is part of my back and forth to Atlanta, right? So I came down and I was there on Tuesday, and my friend comes up. He goes, "You want to go to see Prince tonight?" And I had just flown in.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but of course.
Of course. And so I get there, maybe around 11:30, my head is starting to slump down. I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, and this is a while ago. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm just too old for this. And of course, by the time he sings Purple Rain, I think it was like 12:25.
Wow.
I was like, oh, praise God.
The boss.
Thank you. But it was so beautiful. Wow. He sang every song except, I think 2 songs he didn't sing. He said he would not sing. He said, because I'm a father now. He said, I don't sing those songs anymore. Okay.
We all grow up.
It was only a couple, right? It was only a couple songs. But he was like, yeah, I can't sing those songs. I think one was Nikki, and I can't remember the other one. But I was like, that tracks. It tracks.
I understand.
But love me some Prince. I love all the greats. I love me some Whitney. I love me some Michael. I love me some Luther. Yeah, all gone.
I know. Isn't that something? Amazing. Gone. So you've been very intentional about access and about equity, right? Yes. Very intentional. What does that look like in your dreamed reality? Particularly, even in this space of, because, when you said the 2%, I know it's the same in cybersecurity for African-American women. It's 2 to 3%. What does that look like? What needs to change?
That looks like finally a few of us being to break through, crack through, kick through that barrier, and then be able to help pull others up.
Yeah.
We have to start doing more of that.
I agree.
We have to start really investing. And a friend of mine just started an investment group, and I was elated to be asked to be a part and really understand what an angel investor is. Right. And how do you go about something like that? And I don't think we have nearly done our homework to really understand money and access and what it really means, because it boils down to agency. And you don't have agency when you don't have the freedom of movement, whether that be personally or professionally. Yep. And so we've got to get more engaged and collaborative on how we can pull each other up. And we can pull each other up. Yeah. We do have the skills and the leadership and the experience now, and some of us the capital and the wherewithal to make that happen. And it can happen.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Yeah, it's time.
It is time.
It's just time.
Like they say, you should fear failure, but you should be terrified of regret. And there's too many folks out here in regret mode. We've got to do better. We have to do different. We can.
Right. I agree. I go to bed every night and I'm like, yeah, most days I don't done everything that I possibly could do. So if I don't wake up tomorrow morning, yeah, I'm sure there's something left undone, but for the most part, I ate it all up. Period. End of sentence. Some people think I'm crazy. A lot of people be like, listen, she's 0 or she's 150. It's true. Like, why am I doing, when I'm on vacation, sure, I can chill, but why am I doing 20 here, 30 there? Like,
that's right.
Is there the assumption that I got all the time in the world? I don't know. So the one I do have, we're going to make good use of it.
That's right. And it's about aligning with people that think like you.
Right.
Because a lot of times, a good friend of mine said, never waste your time on people committed to misunderstanding you.
Ooh.
And I had to sit back when she said that. And I said, all of a sudden it was like a domino board. I was like, do. All the people that I was like, all of a sudden it was like I'm a whiteboard now. You kind of cleared the board.
Yes.
Like committed to misunderstanding you.
Committed. Like that takes it to a whole nother level.
It does take
right? Because now you're talking about intentionality about misunderstanding you, not just happening to.
Right. But sometimes it's so subtle.
It's subtle.
You ever have a conversation with someone?
Yeah.
And you can reflect now and think about it. You can say, absolutely. They were committed. The commitment was to misunderstanding me. The agreement was to have the conversation, but it was never to make certain that we could reach any type of agreement or alignment.
Right.
Because the commitment was always to misunderstanding.
Somebody literally flashed through my head. Literally. Okay. No joke. I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh.
Right. And so when you're thinking about your peace, your purpose, your, how you're trying to make certain you are prosperous and all the things in that individual.
Right.
Is one dedicated, intentional in terms of preventing all those things from happening, then you had the wrong person in front of you.
Yeah. In the words of my pastor, go on now.
Right. Go on now. That's why they give them a good old Southern, bless their heart.
Bless your heart.
And then move them to the side and keep moving because they're not. I always tell people, I never even tell people anymore, don't waste my time. I always tell people now, don't waste my life. I say, I don't have life for it. I don't have life for it.
I love that.
At any moment.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna appropriate that. I love that.
I don't have life for it. I don't. And after surviving cancer, right? I had to really rethink like who's in front of me.
Right.
Who do I allow to be in front of me? Who do I allow to indulge and engage me in conversation in a way where it's not purposeful?
Yeah.
I got to do better myself and make certain that I'm putting people in front of me who really have my best interest and I have their best interest at heart. Because if they're not a means to an end, we're going to go around and keep moving.
Yeah, I love it.
We're going to go around and keep moving.
So if you had to do it all over again, you had to pay this price, all of the receipts that you got for the cost of impact to be sitting where you are today, would you do it again?
In a second.
Wow.
I would do it all again. All the struggle, the hurt, the celebrations, the wins, the education, the aspiration, the not knowing, the naivete, all the things. I would do again because it's made me who I am today.
Yeah. Even the kids.
Oh, I would definitely do the kids.
Yeah.
My kids are my best thing I've ever done in my life. By far, nothing even comes close.
Nice.
They are my crown jewels on my life. If I close my eyes today, I'd be like, thank you, God, for allowing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I love my kids.
I'm sure they're super proud of their mama.
They would listen. Not when they're embarrassed. So I think every day they're just about embarrassing me, but I love every now and then they'll say, great job, Mom.
That's a part of the process, and we got to enjoy that part too.
We have to enjoy that part too. And let's face it, if I did it all again,
right,
I would still meet you.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Full disclosure, we sat on an amazing board. She's now in the big people board, the big money part of the board. But no, it's just been phenomenal.
It has been phenomenal. And let me just say this, though. The African American Chamber of Commerce in New Jersey is a wonderful organization. And meeting folks like you has been absolutely, just a win for me.
Yeah.
But just what the organization stands for, how they're just advocates. And John Harmon is no joke.
Yes.
He is for the people, and he is purposeful, and he creates wins when there are no wins.
Yeah.
And I'm just so thankful that he has given me the opportunity to be a part of the board. It's been an amazing experience. I mean, I serve on that board. Of course, I serve on the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association board. I serve on the National Hemp Association's board. I serve on the African American Historical Museum of Southern New Jersey's board. Not because I need to be busy,
right,
but because I want to have a voice at the table,
right,
and I want to see how I can support and help others win.
Exactly. Your voice has to be heard because there's weight to it. Period.
And then we do what we can. And then, I allow my kids to sit there. Half the time they're listening to my conversation anyway.
Right.
So I always tell them, I said, take a listen to what you're hearing. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, we're always hearing somebody that's famous, Mom. I'm like, no, forget that part. Yeah. Just listen to the energy of the conversation, what's being talked about, how it's being communicated.
Right.
Learn.
Yes.
Because we didn't have that opportunity.
No, we didn't.
We weren't listening.
That's why the guy didn't give me the job. But I still got the job, and here we are. Hey, real talk.
That happened to me at DuPont.
Oh, I believe it.
I went to lunch with a group of guys in marketing, and I didn't eat the salad. I had the shrimp and ate it with my hands.
Oh, yeah.
And so they were like, no. Yeah. So they were like, yeah, we just didn't think you had the decorum necessary for the job. I was like, because I ate the fried shrimp with my hands.
This is stuff we can learn really easy. How about all the other complex things I can do with my brain?
Right.
We can learn this.
But
right.
those are all, I call them disqualifiers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, are you looking for a candidate to qualify or disqualify?
Exactly. Same concept as the whole situation with commitment around not really understanding.
Exactly. So I'm just like, what's the intention?
Yes.
What's the intention here? Yeah. So I'm like, okay, you're looking in the box to check me off.
Yeah.
Or check me in.
Exactly. And that's what that guy was doing in that interview.
Clearly, that's what the guy was doing to you. I just still can't believe that you said no chocolate and he was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I mean, now I eat some dark chocolate. I do. So, I mean, we could have worked that out.
Right, we could have worked that out. Yeah. It's like, let me eat this piece of chocolate and reflect on that moment.
I understand the nutritional value of dark chocolate at this point. I'm sold. We could have just done that then.
You're right.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh my gosh, I love it.
So what has the journey taught you about yourself? I mean, you were an introvert. Here we are looking at this amazing boss lady in all possible respects. What has it taught you?
That probably the strongest characteristic you can have about yourself is belief.
Say more.
I think belief centers you. It gives you confidence. It gives you courage. It allows you to trust yourself. It allows you to understand and discern who's on your side when you believe in yourself.
Ooh.
When you believe in yourself.
Yeah, and it's not to be taken for granted, because if you do believe in yourself, you take it for granted.
You take it for granted, right. And you allow others to take you for granted. And you do things that you wouldn't normally do.
Right.
So belief is very strong.
Yes.
And I have a strong belief in myself today. And I think as I was growing up as a young girl, no, I didn't have that belief at all. Right. I cried versus going out and get my my badge as a Girl Scout girl. I couldn't even get out. I was like, I can't go down. And my mother was like, what in the world? She was the Girl Scout leader. She was like, what's going on? I was like, I can't go down. I'm embarrassed. She was like, what is happening? I was on the stage singing in a musical, crying on the stage singing.
Oh, wow.
That's how introverted I was.
Wow.
That's how introverted I was. So from there,
right,
to really understanding and evolving, and sometimes you have to hit life in so many iterations.
Right.
Till, each one is a stone that helps you to grow and evolve and move on and learn. And it strengthens you.
Yeah.
It can strengthen you. It can also destroy you.
Yes. Yes.
You have to be surrounded by, the right people, the right environment. I tell my kids all the time, I said, your friends are your successors or detractors.
Yeah.
I said,
they can really
your choice.
Make or break you.
I said,
it's true.
Your choice.
Yeah.
I said, I think you want to be around winners.
Yes.
And I said, at least my friends will always come and ask them, so who you hang out with? Like, what are you guys doing? And then, so, but yeah, belief.
I love it. Thanks for being here and having this amazing conversation. I adore you. You know that.
I love you to the moon and back.
Love you. And yes. Mwah. Yes. And look out. We're going to be talking about her products and sharing some of that through here. So make sure you follow and just support. I am doing my research, y'all. I'm going to try one of these.
Yes, please do. Go to Instagram, go to genesisinfused.com. You can order online, have it delivered anywhere. Wow. And then, of course, it'll be coming to some of the retail stores near you.
Love it. Let's go. Thanks for listening to The Cost of Impact. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with someone who's building something meaningful in their own way. And if you want more conversations like this one around leadership, ownership, and the real journey behind impact, be sure to follow our platform. Until next time, keep building what matters.
Sweetie, you look amazing as always.
Thank you. Welcome to the control room.
This is fabulous. As you look at this industry, there's a lot of undercurrent in terms of the movement of it. Some might say it actually feels like the gentrification of cannabis, right? Because the industry is moving, but we're not attaining it. We're not acquiring it.